Let me ask you something. Do nerves ever just sabotage your tennis game right when it matters most? You spend all those hours perfecting your strokes, but then the pressure's on and something just breaks. Well, you are not alone. Every player faces that crushing weight of expectation, but very, very few master it. Today, we are going to unpack the precise mental techniques that the top athletes use to turn that crippling pressure into their ultimate advantage, so you can step onto the court with some real, unwavering confidence. It's got to be one of the most frustrating questions in all of sports, right? You're absolutely crushing it in practice. Your serves are landing, your forehands are on fire, but then match day comes and it feels like you're a completely different person. So what is the disconnect? Why does the player who shows up for practice suddenly just vanish when the match starts? And you know what? This isn't just some fleeting feeling. It's a totally shared struggle. Players everywhere, from your local clubs to online forums like Reddit, they're all asking the exact same thing. They know that a perfect forehand isn't enough when the pressure is really on. There's something else, some unseen force that often decides who wins. Well, that unseen force, it's the opponent inside your own head. And learning to manage that opponent, that is the key to unlocking your true potential on the court. I mean, think about it. A killer forehand is awesome, but it's pretty much useless if your mind is sabotaging you from the inside. Let's be real. How many of us can say we're as mentally tough as we need to be? The real war isn't fought over the net. It's wedged in that space between your ears. And that's where mental training comes in. It's the missing piece of the puzzle. But here's the good news, and it's really good news. Mental toughness isn't some magical quality you're born with. No, it's a set of skills. Skills that can be trained, just like your serve or your backhand. The champions, they build a mental toolkit that they can absolutely rely on when the pressure is on. So today, we're going to zero in on 3 of the most powerful and scientifically backed tools in that kit: creating pre-performance routines, directing your positive self-talk, and using visualization to set yourself up for success. Okay, so let's dive right into our first tool, which is backed by some absolutely fascinating research. What do you do in those few crucial seconds right before a big serve? It turns out it matters a lot. So what we're talking about here is what sports psychologists call a pre-performance routine, or a PPR for short. And this isn't just a superstition, like bouncing the ball exactly 4 times. It's a deliberate, systematic sequence of actions and, this is the important part, thoughts that get your mind and body ready to execute a skill when you're under pressure. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Not all routines are created equal. Researchers found there are 2 kinds. One is just physical. We'll call it a motor-only routine. Think bouncing the ball, maybe adjusting your strengths. And then there's the other kind, and this is the real game changer, a motor plus mental routine. This is where you do the physical thing, but you also engage your mind. So you bounce the ball 3 times while taking a deep breath and visualizing that serve landing right on the tee. And would you look at these results? They pretty much speak for themselves. The data from the study is just striking. Athletes with no routine at all, they had the lowest accuracy. The ones with just a physical routine did a little better. But the group that combined the physical action with a mental one, whoa, they blew the others out of the water. It's undeniable proof that what's happening in your head directly impacts how you perform on the court. You see how powerful that mental component is? It's huge. And a lot of the time, it comes down to one simple thing: the conversation you are having with yourself. This brings us to our second tool: mastering your self-talk. I mean, just take a look at Casper Ruud. He's in a tough final, feeling frustrated, losing momentum. He didn't let those negative thoughts take over. No way. Instead, he consciously reset his entire mindset with this powerful self-talk. He reminded himself of who he was and his strengths on that surface. That little mental shift, it helped him regain control and go on to win the whole match. That, right there, is positive self-talk in action. And it's not just about, thinking happy thoughts. It is a proactive mental skill. You are the director of your own inner movie. You get to write the script, a script that fuels your confidence, keeps you laser-focused, and reinforces your will to fight for every single point. It's about taking control of that narrator in your head. So, this inner movie we're directing, it isn't just scripted with words, right? Our minds are also incredible at creating these vivid images. And tapping into that power is our third and final tool: visualization. Let me tell you this awesome, real-world story about how this works. A coach was working with a young player who was absolutely terrified of double faulting on his kick serve. The coach's advice? Stop thinking, don't miss. Instead, he gave him a dead simple visual target, the little triangle created by the service line, the center line, and the net. By focusing on that positive target instead of the negative outcome, the player's whole mindset shifted. That one simple change turned his biggest weakness into a major weapon.
Okay, so here's the thing. Routines, self-talk, visualization, these aren't just little party tricks you pull out of a hat. They are the keys. They work together to unlock the ultimate state of peak performance.
Every single athlete knows this feeling. We call it the zone, or what psychologists call a flow state. It's that feeling where everything just clicks. You're playing freely, instinctively, completely absorbed in the moment. It's the absolute pinnacle of performance. And this isn't just a feeling. The science actually shows a direct link between being in that flow state and, well, winning. A study of junior tennis players found that the winners reported being in a state of flow way more often than the losers, and when they dug into the data, two psychological factors really stood out as the strongest predictors of winning: concentration on the task and a sense of control. Think about it. That's exactly what these mental tools are designed to build. All right, so let's make this real for you. You wouldn't expect to build a better serve without practice, right? And the same exact thing goes for your mental game. So here's how you can do your very first mental rep today. So here are 3 super simple, actionable things you can do, like today. First, design your pre-serve routine. Pick one physical cue and then combine it with a mental one, like seeing your target. Second, script your self-talk. Have one go-to phrase ready for the next changeover to keep you focused and positive. And third, pick your target. Try that kick-serve triangle visualization we talked about. Start building these habits in practice so they become totally automatic in your matches. Look, at the end of the day, you put in the physical work. You've trained your body to execute. The final question you have to ask yourself is this: have you trained your mind to let it? Your body's trained. Is your mind ready to win?